Truly X5 be both beautiful and invigorating? Is the CX90 roomy and responsive? And is the CX30 both stylish and safe? Good questions. Find out with Mazda all summer long.
Visit the Canton Auto Campus. Lease a new Mazda for $319 a month or choose 0% financing at Mazda of Canton on the Canton Auto Campus.
WHBC AM Canton, reliable as ever, powered by Friends and Family Credit Union. It's time to bring a friend into the family on News Talk 1480 WHBC.
The Kenny and JT Show, powered by Roosters, a fun, casual joint.
And welcome back to the Kenny and JT Show. We're already having fun off the air with our next guest as part of the Hall of Fame residency program, John Randle from the class of Mayor John Randle from the class of 2010 joining us here on the Kenny and JT Show. You were named the Mayor of the Day yesterday, weren't you?
Yes, I was.
In Canton.
In Canton, Ohio, and it was quite an honor. I had the pleasure hanging out with the mayor for the day, and, man, he has a busy schedule. But you know what? He took time out to let old Johnny Randle hang out with him, and, man, did I enjoy myself. Boy, it was fun.
What'd you do? Did you fire anybody? Did you hire anybody? Did you fix any roads? What'd you get done?
We didn't fire anybody. We didn't hire
You ain't
anybody.
the mayor.
Hey, I was just hanging out with the mayor, and I was like one of his guys, and man, we got to just drive around, talk to people, shake some hands,
Awesome.
kiss some babies. But I tell you what, though, he's a man of the people. He cares about the people.
Yes, he does.
And just meeting him and hearing about his history and how much he loves Canton, Ohio, man, you couldn't ask for a better mayor.
Mayor Bill Scheer is a great man. We've had on the show countless times. We look forward to having him on the show again. And John Randle joining us today, part of the Pro Football Hall of Fame residency program. I was telling you before we started, I've been stalking you for the better part of the last month because you were in town for the Pro Football Hall of Fame festivities.
Yep.
And I saw you there. We were at a restaurant. We were with Bob Lilly.
Right.
We saw, hey, there goes John Randle. Well, I'll see him a little bit later on. And then yesterday I saw you at the 9/11 tribute.
Yes.
And it was outstanding, very emotional. And I said, there goes John Randle. I'm going to get him in studio. I'm going to talk to him. I want to ask you a question going back to the time, and I can't believe you've been retired for over 20 years now.
Yeah.
To me, it seems like yesterday.
Yep.
When you were inducted, you've been into this parade many times.
Yeah.
What was that first feeling like when you were inducted?
Oh my God.
The whole, take it from the parade, whatever you were introduced, emotionally.
From the parade, there was a little accident. Someone got hit in parade.
Oh.
But overall, it was a great experience. I tell people, for me, getting into the Hall of Fame, for me, was the first time I got a call where when I tried out as a free agent, I sat around for 3 days for the draft waiting for a call. That's when they had 12 rounds. For 3 days. It's like waiting on your girlfriend to call you. I waited for 3 days and nobody called me. And so I never knew what that feeling like to be welcome in. Mm-hmm. But coming to Canton, I got welcomed in. And for me, it was the first time that I felt, because high school football was difficult for me. I was just such an hard kid. College, the same thing. But getting that call from Canton told me that I made the right decision years ago from high school to play football. Where when I was hitching a ride to play high school football, spending late nights by the 7-11, getting home at 11, 12 o'clock at night, getting that call meant that much to me. So coming to Canton, man, it was like going through all those experiences again, high school and college, and saying, this is what I was getting prepared for. And I don't mind waiting 3 days of not getting that call to being a free agent, but to get that call for Canton, everybody tell you that's the call you want, and I got that call.
Yeah. Undrafted free agent into the Hall, like Donnie Shell. We had Donnie on not too long ago. He, too, undrafted as far as that Steelers 74 draft class. Do you think it impacted you as a person and as a player, and without being undrafted, maybe you're not in the Hall of Fame?
Yeah, I think so. Because when you're drafted, you get picked by the right team may not pick you. So I had the pleasure of picking the right team because when I can remember that roster of the Minnesota Vikings defensive line like it was yesterday. Henry Thomas, nose guard, 6'2", 260. Chris Dolman, 6'5", about 255. Keith Millard, 6'5", and about 250. Al Noger, 6'1", 248. There was a guy named Thomas Struthers. He was like 6'2", about 250. Guy named Kenny Clark. He was 6'2", about 250. And I'm looking at this like, man, I can make that team. I can make it. But what they didn't tell me was when I left Texas, palm trees, the beautiful weather. I get to Minnesota, it's like 30 degrees, it's snowing, it's dark outside. I just kept seeing them white streaks over by the window. What is that? I came downstairs and the guy goes, that's snow. I said, it's snowing? It's like March or something like that, snowing. He goes, snows here all the time. I'm like, oh. What am I doing? But I called my mom, and my mom said, baby, you there. Give it a try, see what happens. And, man, I've been there ever since.
The rest is history.
I want to ask you, when the playing days are over, and I know you played double-digit seasons, do you ever have any regrets and say, I think I got one more year left, or were you able to hang it up and just walk away?
I was able to just walk away. Because for me, I learned this from some older players. They go, there's two types of players, the one that retire too early and the one that retire too late.
Okay.
Decide what type of player you want to be. And I said, I want to be a guy that retires too early when people go, man, you had another year. I said, I really have them saying that or saying, man, you should have gave it up 2-3 years ago. I don't know why you out there. You just getting in the way. So I wanted to be that guy. I wanted to be that guy who rode off into the sunset. And at the time, my wife was pregnant, and I'm like, I'm going to watch. Everybody's, you going to be a coach. I'm like, no, I'm going to be coaching my kids. And I appreciate that so much. And now to see my kids, they're older, and my wife, who we had twins at the time, so I'm like, man, I don't think I would want her to handle that burden of twins by herself. So I appreciate it that I did make the right decision. You know, you like, well, I still have a little bit in the gas tank. Well, I'm going to save that and use that on the golf course because I may need it when I'm out there playing a little golf. So, but I appreciate it, though.
You play anywhere while you've been in town?
No, not this time. Usually, man, we go to the Quarry, Firestone, the Glenmore. We go to Brookside. We go to Congress.
Nice.
I got a squad of guys. I mean, Andre Tippett. I got Derek Brooks. We got Booger McFarland comes down and plays with
Wait,
us.
how does Booger play with those crooked fingers in his, man?
Hey, everybody's got crooked fingers, man.
Right.
You find a way. Hey, it's just like when you're out there in that field, you go, I got to beat this guy. But I don't know. You know what? I'll find a way. But it gives us a chance to compete
in
another sport. We ain't that good at it, but we have fun, talk a little trash with it. And then whenever you play against Derek Brooks and Booger McFarland, they make you put out everything. You can be an inch from the hole. I go, that good? I go, what does mean? That means you got to put it out. I said, man, this is what y'all do down in Florida. I said, Minnesota, we'll give it to you. He goes, that's why that's called Minnesota nice. We're not in Minnesota, so we ain't giving you that.
Oh, that's great. So, do you trash talk as much on the golf course as you did on the football field?
I tried to, but it's just, I don't have that continuous shot. I'll pray on the drive. Okay, come on, Johnny, come on. Boom, hit it straight. Yeah. Then the next shot, I'm shanking it. I'm like, I just got to keep my mouth shut.
This is so funny. When Kenny and I found out that John Randle was going to be joining us as part of the residency program from the Pro Football Hall of Fame, first thing that came to mind for me was Brett Favre.
Oh, yeah.
And the reason is because years ago, living in Canton, I thought that one of these days, Brett Favre is going to get inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. I'm going to go buy one of his jerseys, try to get it signed before I'm in media, and then I'll have a nice item that maybe one day will be worth a lot of money.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people, and Mr. Wolf told us last week, maybe one of the greatest football players to ever lace them up. Okay, so I get a Green Bay Packer Brett Favre jersey, and I put it away, and I'm going to get it signed. And then, lo and behold, he ends up playing with the New York Jets. And I'm going to get that jersey, and I'm going to lay it away, and I'm going to get it signed. And he ends up with the Minnesota Vikings. I said, I am done with you, Brett Favre. I am not buying another jersey. 2 is enough.
Yeah.
Tell us about playing against Brett Favre.
Brett Favre, it was to me, it reminded me of like Texas football because he's come up to the line of scrimmage, and most quarterbacks don't talk to me. And he was like, he would say stuff just like, Johnny, you having a tough day, aren't you? Because his center, Frank Winters, many people don't realize Brett had a center in Green Bay named Frank Winters. Frank was from Chicago, but he played in Green Bay. And he had this Chicago, New York accent. Oh, and I'm this guy with this Texas accent trying to talk to him, and his voice all high-pitched. Hey, Johnny, you're not getting nothing over here. Yeah, you're not getting it here. Tell you that, Johnny, you can forget about today. Pulling up on the stop pad. Hey, you ain't getting nothing here today. It ain't happening there. And I'm like, I looked at Brett one time. I go, can you tell him to shut the hell up? Just tell him to shut up. And when you play, for football, it's everything is you looking at little keys. So if the back is on my right, I'm like, back is on my right. I mean, the back is going to block this side, and the center's supposed to go over there. And I'm like, all of a sudden I try to make a move, and bam, there's Frank coming over there. I'm like, you're not supposed to be over here. Well, hey, Johnny, let me tell you, the rules changed for you. It's different. I'm supposed to slide to whatever side you want. If the back's over there, doesn't matter. I'm going to come to you. And I used to get tired looking at Frank, and I used to tell Brett, I go, do you guys hang out a lot? Oh, Frank and I like that. We're all like that. And so I wasn't just playing against Brett. I'm playing against Frank. And Frank was always, I'm not going to let you get my quarterback. But going against Brett, man, it was fun because it reminded me of high school football because this dude had an arm that Tony Dungy would tell me. He was like, Brett will make a mistake here and there. But when that ball comes out of there, man, he goes, we got to be on him. Johnny, you got to get on him because he's like Zorro with a blade out there on us, man. 'Cause he's just been cutting us up. And, he wouldn't throw it for like 10 yards. He would throw it like 60 yards on us, man. But he was a tough competitor, but I enjoyed playing against him. And I still talk to him, and because we're talking about trying to get a little golf event together because we're two old country boys. I'm like, man, we could do it in Green Bay or Minnesota. I prefer Minnesota because I'm still not too liked in Wisconsin. I'm not too keen on going over there.
That's great. And Frank Winters played for the Browns, so I remember him when he was with the Browns for 2 years. I covered him back in the day and everything. So, but I didn't know, he was that much of a talker. But isn't that the ultimate respect, though? Did you take that as respect that they paid so much? They had to pay that much attention.
Oh, yes. And because when you're trying to sit there and tell the guys, they're sliding my way. They go, they can't slide your way every play. And we get in and watch film, and I'm like, told you, slide my way every time. But, yeah, it was definitely out of respect. And I love Frankie Winter because Frank actually and I work together for the NFL. I'm a director, and he's one of my coordinators. And we talk all the time. And I think his second daughter was just getting married. And I would tell him congratulations. And every time I talk to him, I think about the memories, us playing, going to Lambeau Field, afterwards grabbing some beer, eating some brats, and chit-chatting, and me looking over my shoulder to make sure none of those Packer fans were coming to attack me because, man, they were brutal.
How about the commercial, though?
Oh, the chicken.
The chicken. So here, we're big Rocky fans.
Oh, you are?
We are. So we wondered, the commercial idea with the chicken, was it stolen from Burgess Meredith as Rocky's manager? Well, you need speed, Rock. You need speed. I got to chase this chicken, Mick, right? So we were wondering, was that any part of it?
It might have been. When we were putting it together with Nike, we had some input. And, one of the things, we did it in Beverly Hills. We shot the commercial out there, and I think we shot it at some old porno's house or something in the backyard. But it may have come from that. But, man, I think the toughest, crazy part for me was we were sitting there trying to figure out somebody had to go to some restaurant and get some chicken so we could cook it. And we should have said at the end of that commercial that no chickens were harmed.
You took blowback, didn't you, for that?
Oh, dude. Peter came up on me like it was nobody's business. I had more fan mail And I remember we were sitting one day, me and one of my teammates, he goes, "What's going on?" I said, "Man, I don't know who these people are, but this Peter company, man, they're worse than Frank Winters, man. They on me, they on my butt, like left and right. I think I got at least 3,000-4,000 fan letters a week.
Wow.
Talking about, you harmed some chickens." I'm like, man, I ain't touched no chickens.
No, it was
chasing
it's
some.
just like in a movie.
Yeah,
it's
just,
a commercial, you know?
They took it seriously.
This is interesting. This is John Randle right here, Pro Football Hall of Fame residency program, member of the Minnesota Vikings, Seattle Seahawks as well.
Yep.
We'll talk about Seattle later. You want to talk about animals. You ever catch one of them fish?
Oh, yeah. Down at the harbor?
They send it to you?
No.
You catch it?
No, we gave it away.
The one where they, at the fish counter, where they throw it?
Yeah.
You caught one.
Yeah, they threw it. We caught it, yeah.
How big is that thing?
Man, I don't remember. I just knew I caught it.
I don't know if I can catch it.
I had those damn receiver gloves on with little.
Oh, you did?
Little stick 'em. They caught whatever.
There you go.
Yeah.
But getting back to this Minnesota thing though, because we were talking about all the famous names. We had Carl Eller in studio.
Yeah.
Alan Page is from Canton,
Yeah, oh,
Ohio, and I'm sure you know the history of all these guys. But I mentioned the fact that you're from Minnesota. Do you know the Body, Jesse the Body Ventura?
Oh, my God.
We start talking wrestling.
Oh, so where I live at now is kind of was a place where a lot of the wrestlers started at. The Nasty Boys. And this one guy, I'll mention his name afterwards. I was at Target one day, and they're doing my wife's shopping one day for her, and I look up and I see this guy in the register going through the pay, and I'm like, looking up, I'm turning my head, I'm like, it can't be. Oh, my God. That's who I think. Oh, my God. It was Animal from the Road Warriors.
Really?
Oh,
Yeah.
man.
So come to find out, he lived down the street from me, and his son, Laurinaitis, who played Ohio.
Yep.
Yep.
Ohio State.
He worked with us at the NFL Legends community for a while, and I go, man, your dad was Animal. He goes, you know my dad? I go, no. Dude, who didn't know Hawk and Animal, the Road Warriors, the Legion of Doom?
Right.
And so my connection with wrestling, me and this coach, Foch Fazio, we used to go to wrestling matches. And how I figured out we were going to the wrestling matches was in practice where Foch would be hollering my name. John Randle, I need to talk to you because I don't think you know what you're doing out here on this football field. I come up to him, Foch, what did I do? Nothing. Are we going to the wrestling match? If you want to go, Coach, let's go. So we go to this one match. We're down there. We got the mayor of Minneapolis, and next thing you know, we're in the back talking with Ric Flair.
Come on.
And he's like, you guys gonna go in the ring with me? And I'm like, I don't know if that's a good idea. No, we gotta go in there. So it's me, Kirby Puckett, the mayor. We got Ric Flair behind us, and we're doing our thing. And I'm like, I got to get this serious face on. I'm like, oh, my God, I'm here with Ric Flair. And he's, let's go. Yeah, the nature. Ooh. And we were sitting there, I remember, and after we was hanging out, and he goes, Johnny, do you know who I am? I go, man, I said, you want me to do it? He goes, do what? I'm custom made, Rolex wearing, Gator shoes wearing.
My God.
You may not like me, but learn to love me because I'm part of the. Ooh, oh, dude. Oh, yeah. I grew up watching wrestling. My brothers and I would sit and watch it, man. Houston wrestling. But, I mean, in Minnesota, we got Vern Gagne, Greg Gagne. Oh, we got the Nasty Boys, the Brain. Oh, my God. The Iron Sheik. Oh,
yeah.
No, that's my.
And how about Ric Flair to this, still going strong, man, right?
Dude.
He's got hummus, he's got gummies, he's got drinks. Yeah. He's more popular now.
He's doing Cameo. He's doing it all. And about, I think like in 1999 or 2000, me and a guy named Jeff George was staying in this apartment complex. It was right on the lake in downtown Minneapolis. So we're sitting at the bar talking, and all of a sudden, this restaurant was owned by he was the wrestler, played at Atlanta, with the big shoulders. Oh my God, you know what I'm talking about. Goldberg.
Oh, okay.
So Goldberg's brother owned the restaurant in Minneapolis. So we're sitting in there, Jeff Jordan and I just having a couple of beers, and all of a sudden the doors flare open, and it's Ric Flair. He's talking about, get me some champagne, get them champagne, get me some this, get me that. And I'm like, yeah, you get me a bottle. And I'll be right back. I'm going to the bathroom. I walked out that back door and was gone. You ain't getting me with Ric Flair. No.
I spent more money on spilt liquor, right, than you did all year.
Dude. I'm like, there's no way I'm going to hang out with Ric Flair. Man, I can feel the hairs on my neck just standing up like.
That was a smart move on your part, man, at that time.
Jeff Jordan's like, what happened to you? I'm like, dude, I had to tap out, man. I had to tap out. I'm not hanging with Ric Flair.
Jeff George, a quarterback.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic.
We call him whiskey.
That's funny.
Jeff Jordan, I'm going deep. Jeff, all we need is like 10 yards. I'm going deep. Jeff, man just needs 10 yards. Johnny, I could go 10, but you shake the leg. I could go 10, but I'm going deep.
That's like Tin Cup, right? In the movie Tin Cup. Just lay up. No, I'm going for the green in the
Give me another ball. Give me another ball.
You know what I'm talking about, yeah. John Randle, our guest, thrilled to have him in studio with us. Pro Football Hall of Famer, class of 2010. Jerry Rice in that class. Emmett Smith, Russ Grimm. That's a hell of a class.
Oh, my God. Yeah, Floyd Little.
Right.
Dick LeBeau. Oh, my God, yeah. I remember when we got here, Ricky Jackson was also in that. So we got here, and Ricky was like talking about our speeches, and I'm like, I said, I could do one for about 15, I could do one for about 20 minutes. And all of a sudden, Deacon John walked in there. You got 5 minutes. You got 5 minutes for your speech. I said, well, I'll tell you what, my speech is going to be 5 minutes. John just told me 5 minutes.
Who presented you?
John Turling.
Who was that?
John Turling was my defensive line coach.
Yep. He was with the Browns at one point as well.
He was with the Browns. He was with the coach. He taught Dwight Freeney.
Yep.
He taught, numerous guys. But he was a guy who, he came into us one day at first meeting. We were all sitting in there, and he goes, you guys don't know me. And he had these little weird hands gestures. But I'm going to tell you something. He goes, we are going to be sacred cows. I'm like, sacred cow? What is this? He goes, there's this country. Don't ask me where. As he's drinking his beer. He said, don't ask me where. But there's this place where these cows walk down the street. And the people are starving, but they can't eat them. These cows got bells on them. They're just ringing down the street. We're going to be sacred cows. He goes, we're going to be like sacred cows. We're going to be like gazelles. We're going to poop and pee as we run. We're going to be running to the quarterback, and you're going to go in and out. You're going to do spin moves. I'm like, who is this guy? He goes, I'm John Turling. I'm your new defensive line coach. Pushing his hair back. He goes, I'm from the south side of Cleveland. Come to find out he was not from Cleveland.
He coached in Cleveland, but not from it.
But he was like, man, I fought every day. I had to fight, man, my brothers. Man, he goes, man, I had to fight everybody. He goes, look at that. I got scars all over me, man, from fighting in Cleveland. I'm going, man, where's this dude from? But he was such a great guy because he taught us little things in football, like watching offensive lineman's hand, watching if he was moving, if he was doing this and that. He actually started out with Micah Dean Perry.
Okay.
And so he would show us film on Micah Dean. He goes, man, football is like an art. You got to be out there and you're playing. You got to be out there painting your picture. You got to set him up. You got to set him up with this move, work this move. He goes, whatever move you work on the right-hand side, you got to work it on your left-hand side. He goes, you always got to be thinking. He goes, and it doesn't hurt to find out more information on the guy you're going against. I'm like, what do you mean? You may want to find out if he's left-handed, if he's right-handed. He goes, it wouldn't even hurt to find out if he's married or not. And I was like, okay, I'm going to find out if he's married. Then I'm going to find out if he got kids. I'm going to find out where he lives, where he hangs out. And I started gathering information. And Henry Thomas and I were playing against the Raiders and a guy named Steve Winooski. Henry goes, you got to watch out for this guy. He's a dirty player. And I didn't know anything about him, but I knew he lived in Houston. He hung out at this grocery store. I think it was called Randle or something, grocery store. And during the game, he kept stepping on my shoes. And I'm like, dude, stop stepping on my shoes. He kept stepping on them. On, listen, I'm going to come to Houston. I'm going to find you at this Randle grocery store. And I'm going to step on your shoes and your wife Mary's shoes, your two little sons' shoes. And I'm all angry. And I'm like, I'm breathing out. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to do that. And he was like, how do you know where I live? And I was like, I'm like, and Jack Del Rio at the time was my middle linebacker, and he kept talking about this movie, The Road Warriors.
Yeah.
And I go, because I'm bronze. I am the Road Warrior. I will come get you. Walk back to the huddle, and I go, Henry, what's he doing? And he goes, man, he's staring at you. I think you scared that dude. Really? And that's how we got trash talk to start, by doing stuff like that. And after that, I was looking at him like, I was like Clubber Lang from Rocky. Yeah, sucker. Oh, Dave, come to your house, man. Oh, and that's how we got started trash talking, man.
That's awesome.
So did you keep like a notepad of information on guys?
Oh, man, I had
You did, didn't you?
Booklets.
I read that somewhere.
Yeah, I had
I'm not
booklets.
dreaming this.
Oh, I had booklets. And so as soon as the game was over, you know, everybody's shaking hands, I'm running off the field and writing down all this information on the guys I played against. So I had like little files on the guy. Oh, yeah, he does this good, he does that bad. And I would just keep it. Then I go to the Pro Bowl, I started hanging out with guys, hanging with Reggie White. So what do you do when you just move? What is that? Oh, that's the hump move, Johnny. That's the hump move. I'm like, oh.
Hump move.
And I was writing down information on guys, talking to like Howie Long, Howie telling me stuff. Man, you gotta get him off balance. I gotta get him off balance. Yeah, you gotta make him lean. And so with that, and then you start hanging out with guys, and you start asking questions about their teammate. Hey, this one guy I saw you play with you guys. He's a guard. What's his name? Oh, his name's Oliver. Is he married? Yeah, his wife is. Oh, continue on with that information. Yeah. So they was like, man, how did you know my wife? He told me. Your teammate told me. Man, I didn't tell him that.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's outstanding.
Yeah. Defensive tackle, defensive lineman. You did it both, over 137 and a half sacks, I think actually the total number was. And when you retired, I think second most ever sacks by an interior. What was it about you in the interior where you separated yourself from everybody, maybe other than Alan Page, who also was, a Viking and in the interior that might have had more sacks than you?
I think it was the first step. I'd be watching the guy, and to be the person who I was on the football field, I couldn't be that person off the field because it took too much energy and effort. So on that field, I felt like I wanted to be like a gunslinger. I wanted to be the fastest. So I would be in my stance, and man, if his butt just puckered, man, I was moving. And as soon as he moved, I guess call like a Mike Tyson. First thing I do was give him a bull rush into the chest and call it set him up, so that now they're thinking I'm gonna come with a bull rush move, the next move. Once I hit him with that bull rush, I can go in, out, and I started laughing, that very wicked, demon-like laugh, that I'm gonna take your soul. You mine, brother, which is like wrestling. You mine.
That's where the face paint came from.
You mine, brother. You just don't know it. Ooh, yeah. And I was out there, and then next thing you know, I always tried to get to that inside because I knew that's what they were trying to protect, but they were also threatened by that outside. So that's when I had the little miniature, I call it a little miniature Reggie hump, push him up, go back underneath, spin back into it. And I always told my nose guards, listen, I'm not asking for a lot, but can you keep that center off my ass? Mm-hmm. Just hold him in there. If you hold him in there, I'm going to get there. And I'm going to get there in like 2 seconds. And that's all I needed. Because I said, I'm going to get there. And if he's not there, he's going to roll out to the defensive end. But I tried to, when I was playing, I tried to give 125% because for me, I felt the fans who were out there paying their hard-earned money, I wanted to give them what they deserve. So I wanted to do it every game. And so that's why I said when I retired, it's 14 years. I'm like, I got to be done because to give that effort every play, I couldn't see myself going out there and call it half-assing it or not giving the fans what they deserve.
You were so successful on the defensive line. When I watch games today and I see these tackles, and I know you didn't always line up over a tackle, but I'm sure at times you're on the outside as well. Mm-hmm. You see these guys, it seems like they're moving before the ball is snapped.
Yeah.
They're going back. How would you go up against today's offensive line?
I would probably kind of be like an Aaron Donald. I watch Aaron Donald, and I've talked to him, and it's a similar style. And now the game is played from the waist up. Mm-hmm. And back then he was playing, from all the way down in them guys. But I would still play it the same way because back then a lot of guys didn't want to use their hand. More guys were calling what we were doing different, but it was the thing that was coming into the game. And I always tell guys, I'm like, listen, because I talked to he's like my nephew Cam Jordan down at the Saints, and we talked about pass rush, and I'm like, you're like an artist, but it's the same type of style. And when I talk to guys at the combine and we're working the hands, I said it's still the same game, but the only difference is, okay, you don't have to worry about anybody cut blocking you at the line of scrimmage, but it's still the same type of moves, which are everybody using it, their swim moves, the rip move, but the hands are still the main part of it, which for me, the hand part make the game seem easier because you just have to be patient, and that's the biggest part. When the guy sticks his hand out there, man, you knock it down, and you go by him, you start laughing, and they're insulted by it, but that's still the same part. And I always said, man, if I was planning to get today's game and don't have to worry about that chop block, oh my God.
Is there martial arts or anything that comes into play?
Wax on, wax off?
Yes.
So you did take?
Yeah. We did a little taekwondo, and I would sit in my garage for about 3 hours every night working my move. Yeah. So that the move became second nature. Same hand, same foot, working the moves. And it's to me, it's you want to get, for a pass rusher, you want to get close. Offensive linemen don't want you to get close. They want to keep you off.
Right.
So what I would always tell guys was when you're talking to an offensive lineman or you look in front of one, never get square on offensive lineman. Always get to the side. And it goes back to the John Turley rule, which was you want to be a gunfighter. When gunfight back when they were turned sideways, half a body. So that's what we would do.
Okay.
And I tell guys all the time, I got to the point where I was so bad with this, where I'd be talking to someone, I'm like, hey, how you doing? Hey, how you doing? Leaning sideways, because it was like, hey, man, you gotta take half a body. And then we got so crazy with it. We would walk around. This guy named Mike Merriweather started this. We called him Teacher. And we were walking around the locker room, and if you gave somebody your chest, you'd be standing there, just get your hands off me. Don't touch me. And we would do it every day. That became second nature. Like, don't let anybody put their hand. Almost like when you see running backs carrying the football.
Right.
We did it the same way with pass rushing. We'd be hiding behind the door and stuck about, touch somebody in the chest. I got you. Get your hands off.
Wow. But it helped.
Yes, because
no question.
It helped me so much because I had to go against a guy named Randle McDaniel in practice every day, and he drove me nuts with it. I'm like, dude, I got to get him out of my chest. And so you just be like in practice, working your moves, and just second nature.
John, I have to ask you, the first week of the NFL season, what we saw was some really lousy football. Okay? I want to ask you about preseason, not only practicing, but preseason games. What direction are we taking in the NFL right now? What do you see when you watch the first couple of weeks?
The game is different now because, you're taking the pass away from the game. And I think for me, back in the day when we had training camps, that's when you learned that you got better from the hitting and stuff. And, it made you get better in training camp. But now, the game is safer. So the guys have to kind of ease into the season. And I think in the beginning of football season, the game's not as clean as they should be. And I actually put out on social media a little post where I was talking about, to me, the 3 months of football: October, November, and December. October is just Halloween. That's a trick month. And you got teams going, man, we're good. We're really good. I'm like, that's just a trick month. Now, November, if you're still winning or you playing, everyone's healthy, you got to be thankful. That's Thanksgiving. Then there's December. Now, if you're playing good in December and you got people that are healthy, then you may get the gift of going to playoffs. That's how I look at the season. So in October, there's some teams still rusty. We remember even with Tampa Bay and Tom Brady, how they started out. It was rusty. But by the end of that year, man, whoever cleans it up and stays healthy, those are the teams. But the season is different now. Training camp, less hitting. I know I go watch the Minnesota Vikings, and you see them out there. Everybody just kind of just pointing to who they got, this and that. But it used to be hitting and perfecting it, getting what you wanted in practice, because practice was just like the game. So that when the game came along, man, the game was easy because you learned it in practice.
Right.
But it's different now, and everyone is learning as they go through the season. And I think whoever can get their teams honed up and skilled up and get everything, as Coach Frazier would say, whoever can get their metal sharpened up and clean because it's dusty will be the winner at the end of the season.
All right, before we let you go, two things. What have you been doing this week in Canton? And share with our listeners and viewers, people watching on Facebook Live now, what you're doing with the NFL.
Okay, so in Canton this week, I have been hang out to Mayor for 9/11 because for me, I'm a military buff, which means I collect challenge coin. I have like 150. So for me, remembering 9/11, I still remember when my wife and I were out in Seattle, waking up, getting a phone call from my sister-in-law telling us to turn on the television. So for me, it was 9/11 yesterday. So we were out there with the fire departments, and it was sad, but it was a great time to reflect and for togetherness, seeing everyone come out for one cause and remembering that we're all Americans and what a tragic time 9/11 was. But so I've been doing that, and I also been talking to some high schools around here. Just finished talking to Glen Oaks, and they're kind of starting off in I think they're 0-2. So I was telling them that you got football season is like sometimes when you're running, you fall down, but you got to get back up. And I said, even though you're losing, still, can you say to yourself that you've given your all on the football field? And that's all you can ask for as teammates. When you're done playing, you're gonna have good memories and bad memories. But I've done that. But the other part, what I've been doing, I work for the NFL as a consultant for me and about 24 of those guys, where we work with former players and current players in the NFL legends community. We engage, we celebrate, and educate former players about benefits and helping them when their career's done. We try to figure out what's their next scenario, what they want to do. Is it coaching? Is it going into radio, television? Is it going coaching your high school? Is it starting a foundation? Is it trying to start a music career? If that's what you want to do, we'll try to help you and support you in getting that started. But for me, being able to do that with these guys, it allows me to help these guys because through my path or my journey in life, there's been many people who helped me and been a lot of former players who helped me become a better player by teaching me moves or whatever. But I think I love the game. I respect the game so much that I try to leave it in better hands, and I try to support those guys who played the game, who've given their all. And a lot of these guys, they come into it hoping to have a long career, but end up having a short career. And to me, in ways like the military, I just want to support my brother, the brotherhood.
You respected the game, and the ultimate respect coming back is being inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
Sir.
And you
Yes,
earned
sir.
that, and you deserved that. And we loved having you here today, and I know the community loved having you here this week.
Thank
You've
you.
got an open invite to come in here.
I got to come back for sure.
Yes,
man.
yeah, we haven't even scratched the surface about you wearing a chain under your shirt to get the extra pounds to get weighed in, right?
Yes.
That'll be next time.
Yes, for sure.
That's a
a good story.
tease, right? That's a
good
tease
stuff.
for our
Yeah.
audience out there. John Randle, thanks so much for joining us today. Continued success. We'll talk to you again down the road.
Skol!
There it is.
It's Kenny and JT on WHBC.
You're listening to the Kenny and JT Show, powered by Rooster's Wings on Dressler Road in Canton. Stop in for some